And it seems like there were lots of choices and trying to figure out how to work as a community to get the tourists there because that tourist dollar was so important for the families of the coast, was it not? And even as we look to today, vacation rentals are a big part of Lincoln City today. So it's still a continuing draw.
Well, in that time period, those who were there recognized that individual logging, the Chippewa logging companies, if you will, were long gone. All of the little sawmills were gone. Some of them still had a steel wigwam burner that was rusted but was standing. And in the Lincoln City area, we didn't have fishing as they did in Newport. So there was one thing. Tourism was the only industry that we could depend on. So as a resort community, you say, well, let's build our industry and make Lincoln City the most desirable place to go to on the Oregon coast. And needless to say, it has worked well.
With your weekends that would surge, did you find that families rented out their homes, or were they usually just letting other people borrow them? Was there much? There's some decisions we're making here in 2016 that these vacation homes are businesses in residential neighborhoods. Back then in the 60s and 70s, was there ever any stress for you working at a city level, concerned about homes there within blocks of the ocean that they were being rented out, that needed to be regulated?
No, I don't think it ever came into discussion because people who owned vacation homes and had bought them for just that purpose had been doing this for years. And it was just an accepted thing that when you live at the beach, you want a place to go to. It's the concept of the timeshare, if you will, only on an individual scale. So I can say that it was just not an issue, that this is the way it is at the beach, and it's good to have this as a supplemental source of income for that property owner, because this was a way that they were able to finance the vacation home.
Wow. Well, there was an award back in the day, and there was Man of the Year, and you're looking at the 1966 Man of the Year for Lincoln City. What was it like to be selected by your peers and get that award?
Well, it's the only thing that you get is that if you try to do a good job and you succeed in some measure, then your peers want to say, okay, you done good, so they give you a pat on the head, as it were, and give you a plaque that says you're the Man of the Year.
Well,
but
and
it's not something you seek, though.
Yeah, it really drew you into all the public service, all the involvement, the Oregon Coast Ad Club, merging to the 20 Miracle Mile Ad Club. And that also was an interesting perspective with you integrating with Portland, sponsoring the KPTV 12 late movie, and the 20 Miracle Miles would sponsor that. But it made those connections up with Portland. And to the point, tell us about how that plane flew to Devil's Lake.
Well, the Miracle Mile group on Sandy Boulevard in Portland, the fellow that was one of the key men there was George Wallace, one of the owners of Wallace Buick up there. But he owned a Grumman Widgeon and looked forward to the opportunity, hey, I can come down to Devil's Lake. So he landed his seaplane, the Grumman Widgeon, on Devil's Lake, which was right across from my house, and taxied it up on the regatta grounds. So all of the directors of the ad club came down to meet them, and we tried to wine them and dine them and make them feel welcome. And then in turn, we made a trip, we, the directors again, key people involved, made a trip to Portland and met with them in their Miracle Mile group. This wasn't an ongoing thing, but it did establish a connection of how they had promoted a specific area in their town, and that was what we were trying to do, is promote a specific geographic area on the coast.
Yeah.
So they had some good help for us.
And I want you to end our interview here today and talk to the businesses, the hotels, the service provider, our tourism industry, our leaders, our civic leaders of 2016, of some lessons that we should apply that are still true today to work together.
Well, it's a challenge that faces any business And you have to try to, number one, get people to come to your town before they can decide which business to come to. You hopefully will provide a service or a product that is in their need, and that's where the tourism industry thrives, is that, okay, you have lodging, you have food, you have clothing, you have accessories that they're going to need. But in addition to get them to come to your area, you still need to do the individual store promotion. It's not a simple matter of the old story about if you build it, they will come. Not necessarily true. They maybe will even come to your area, but will they come to your business? And they will come if they're invited. That is the key. So your individual promotion efforts are still absolutely essential. And if you can do this as a collective group to make them want to come to your area, then the job of getting them to come to your individual business is going to be a lot easier, because as an individual business, you're not going to go to Portland or any of the major communities and spend your dollars because you're lost in a sea. But if you spend them in collection with other businesses in your area, it's the bundle of sticks. It's harder to break a bundle of sticks than it is one. So you got to be in a concerted effort as a group.
Well, and I also attribute it to the competitive spirit of communities competing in good spirit one to another. And that statewide visibility that you made Lemons, our own governor, saying that it was the 20 miserable miles, but you were in the hot seat and recommended that solution and made lemonade. So that was pretty genius on your behalf. But I think the tapestry of the union of the relationships ended up stronger in Lincoln City after coming together to unite to beautify the coast.
Question. Yes, because we had shown that what we can do as a group works out, and said, okay, let's apply that. Let's build a city. And that is what developed. And of course, anything that is going to be from a humble beginning is going to hopefully grow if you keep that same attitude that says, this is our home, this is our town, how can we make it better?
Yeah.
So people will want to come to our city.
And just the aligning of all the issues that we're facing, 1964 culminated in a successful 1965 of uniting, but interesting how the story of those events, you couldn't have planned them. They were just like happenstance. You reacted and just went with it. And I think, if we started on a piece of paper and planned it, we might not have been able to pull it off. It's amazing.
There is no blueprint to follow at that point. And as I recall, at that point, we had a record, because nowhere in the United States was there a record of 13 taxing districts being brought into one city. And to my knowledge, I don't think that's happened since then.
Wow. Well, it's the fabric of the people. Yes, that's an execution on paper, but our little lovely town of these 6 communities have had lots of tough decisions in the past to overcome. And, the fact that there was a lot of rundown buildings and not very beautiful places, that a group of people took the initiative and beautified it. And look at where we are today. So I hope we can take some lessons from these discussions with you, Buzz. I really appreciate this opportunity, and hope to see you in Lincoln City and walk some of those streets with you that you shepherded for many years. And I'm sure you want to give credit to the other counselors, the other people on your planning commission, the Jerry Parks, the other families, the Garrisons, the many families who have for decades driven up and down 101 and just looked for ways to make that town better?
I think that probably sums it up, because if you are a leader, an elected official, I think you could compare it to saying, okay, I'm driving the wagon, but I have to have a lot of people pushing or we're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what happened in Lincoln City through the 20 Miracle Miles ad club, that everybody was pushing on the wagon, and it went forward beyond our belief. And I think I can have a certain amount of pleasure, even though nobody, I say nobody, but most people in Lincoln City have never heard of Buzz Florip. But when I come back to Lincoln City, I can say I had a small part in making this happen.
Well, I want you to know how grateful I am. I love our town of Lincoln City, and having been there in the 70s, in the schools at D Lake and Ocean Lake, I had no idea, but most kids don't pay attention to the politics of the town. But I'm sure grateful what you've done, and I'm excited to be back in Lincoln City and being around the table of telling its best stories to Portland and Mid-Willamette Valley. That's a big passion of mine, but it sounds like that's really what has been the success of the past.
Where it all began.
And I think that's where we got to keep going.
Right. I would think that you need to talk to your customers.
All right.
As a business owner, if you don't talk to them, then why would they be concerned about you?
Yeah. Really good point. And, Portland's seeing record people moving to it. How home sales are skyrocketing, and I think it's exciting to see what the future of Lincoln City will be when that kind of spills over, when a lot of those people are getting settled in Portland. I was there this last weekend, and there were people looking for second homes who'd moved there in the last year. So it's an exciting future for Lincoln City. But thanks for talking with me, Buzz. I'm going to put my contact information on screen. If you have a question, email me, and I'll get it to Buzz. And if there's something that you'd love to reflect on about Lincoln City or a story, please put it in the comments of this interview. But it's been fun chatting with you here today, and I'm just really honored that I had the time.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
If there are any old timers who remember old what's his name, love to hear from you.
You bet. And lastly, thanks to your wife who supported you through so many meetings, so much time away from the home, you shepherding all these issues. Please express to her, as a community, how grateful we are that she stood with you all those years.
I certainly didn't originate the thought, but it's been said many times that behind every successful man there is a woman who very much supports him, keeps him going, and lives with the problems that create because of your involvement.
Yeah.
And so the wives have big credit there that they never get proper recognition for.
Yes, and I'm going to cascade some articles showing Governor Hatfield on a beach in Lincoln City delivering on his promise to clean a mile of beach. And thank your wife for keeping those in such perfect condition. They're so fun now to go back and read those.
And I think that we really need to admit he didn't really clean a whole mile of beach. We did have him down at Fogarty Creek and got lots of pictures, but we let him off the hook.
But even, Jerry Frank, let's give a mention out to Jerry and his support of our coastal town. What are your thoughts? What do you want to say to Jerry Frank?
Well, I've maintained a relationship with Jerry over the years, and when he was supporting Governor Hatfield, then later Senator Hatfield over all the years, Jerry was a key man in keeping Governor Hatfield supported and getting this type of thing, like our little contest with Salem, underway. It was Jerry who helped that much to our support.
So thanks for watching. It's been an honor to talk this evening with you, Buzz. Really appreciate it. And for more great stories, check out LincolnCityTV.com. Thank you.